we we have completed the state management techniques in the last session, and then another part is to write some information which is applicable for all the ASP.NET application. That means in the state management techniques, we have seen how we can write some information either on the page or on the web server's memory or in the application context or in the cookies. Okay, so different techniques were there. So all they were important when we are generally using the coding for your web development. But some of the configurations are they are not going to be changed every time. Okay, so these are not actually variables. They are going to be some settings. The settings means a database connection can be there, or you are working on some unique framework of .NET, or maybe the compilation procedure you want to have on a given node, or you want to have some authorization, like what should be the authorization protocol or authentication protocol for accessing your website by the users. So there are different settings that we can apply whenever we are going to create any web application in the ASP.NET. So one such kind of setting is we can done in configuration file, and that is given generally in web.config file. So this is the file that we need to put some information where to get connect or what are the values which are applicable for system-wide implementation. Okay, so they are, otherwise you can provide the admin email account ID, or there can be any guest users or not, or anonymous access can be given or not. So all these are settings we generally do not code from the code behind file. So these settings are not for the page-to-page operation or for some of the functionalities. So it will not be in such a way, but they are actually applicable on the overall application running as such you are having in your website. Okay, so that means they are basically treated as application configurations, and application configurations are in general commonly written in web.config file. And where we can see this web.config file, so suppose we have this solution which we have created in the couple of sessions. Okay, so this is the project name, some IWT that I have given, and you can see barely we got to see few files because we have created from scratch. Okay, so nothing is there. So one another mode is like you can have a template also, in which all the, suppose you are working on MVC architecture, so automatically modal view controllers folders will be created, some of the dummy functionalities will get created, so that entirely architecture is completely different. So basically there you are having so many files lined up um, in this root folder IWT. But here we have taken to create the functionalities from scratch. So that's why the default.aspx we have created. It's not created with the ASP.NET by default. But what it has created is, first one is bin. Okay, so the bin is automatically created whenever any new application is created by you. And second most important thing is web.config. Okay, you can see this. We did not create this. It has been created by the ASP.NET for any new project. So now what is this web.config file? This web.config file, as we discussed in the maybe one of the session, it is nothing but an XML file. It is nothing but an XML file. You can see the PI here. Okay. So processing instruction is here. What is the root name? Root element name is configuration. In this configuration, there is one section that is system.web, another section system.code.dom. Depending on your framework, it gets changed. Okay, so depending on whether you are working on the latest one, or maybe you are working on 2.0 or some 3.5, sometimes it will get changed as per the framework pattern. So what it is actually doing is it is actually conveying some instructions at the time of the compilation. Okay, so see here. So this root configuration element is having system.web, and one of the element name is compilation, and whether we have enabled debug or not. Okay, so when we have given debug is equal to false, there will be no debugging attached to the ASP.NET when it is being launched in the browser. Okay, so in that way it is going to be manipulating the things. And one more thing we can see, the target framework. So right now the default my machine's default target framework is set to 4.5.2, but we can change to any other thing. Like I want to target only the 3.5, then I can do the changes. Okay. So before doing the changes, you should be knowing some of the other dependencies also. And as a novice user or as a beginner, you don't have to worry about these changes actually. Simply understand what it is actually doing and what they actually uh, uh, treat the application in one of the other contexts we are going to see in these slides. Okay, so what are those? We'll just come to know. So we can see there are many internal elements are there. Some are very big with all the namespaces and other thing. And what are the languages that we have taken? So it is identifying that we are using currently C sharp, and the extension is also it is pretty much highlighted by the .cs. Okay, so all these are actually self-explicable, but some of the things which we are not getting, you just don't have to bother because it is for the .NET framework point of view. So we need not worry if we are not understanding that particular setting. But some of the manipulations that we can implement on our website that we need to know certainly. Okay, so what they are, so we are going to see that in the PPT. So the ASP.NET configuration file is basically written in this particular web.config file. Okay, so the root element name is configuration that we can see that we have really seen in the XML file also. Config file changes are automatically detected. So automatically detected means, suppose if I am if I am changing something, suppose I have changed this to some 3.5. So without compilation, without your entire application is being compiled, from the next request itself, the framework is targeted towards the whatever the change that you have incorporated. Similarly, if I'm having my session state, okay, so so this is I am opening the session state. Okay, so session states are generally written for writing the session. So what is the mode? Okay, so the mode can be in process, or there should not be any session. That also we can keep off. Or sometimes we want to write that information in the SQL server, or sometimes we want to write that information in the state server. State server sir means they're exclusively for maintaining the state only. Their behavior is targeted towards maintaining the state. So it does not have any other functionality associated with that. The large companies actually do invest in these kind of state servers. Otherwise, we can have these SQL server dependencies, or you are not providing anything. That means by default it is taking as in process. Okay, so in proc means it is going to be maintained in the memory of the web server. So whatever the state that you want to maintain for your users are automatically maintained in the memory of the web server. So that is by default. So that means if I am using this or not. Okay, so it does not have any sense because by default the setting is this. Okay, and in the last session we have discussed what is the default timeout. The timeout is, what is the timeout that we have discussed in the last session? If we are not overwriting this with our own setting, yes, anybody can say. So in the last session itself we have discussed on that. So what is the default timeout? It is in minutes and it is for 20 minutes. Okay, so if you are not writing anything exclusively in this web.config, so basically these settings are getting applied. but I want to override this setting with some 10 minutes. No, it's 10 hours. 1 minute is having uh, 20 minutes, and yes, this is 1 hour. Okay, so in that way we can set the setting as per your requirement, or sometimes you may keep this for 10 hours also. This is for 10 hours. Okay, and you can simply say the setting by putting the value which is converted into the minutes. So session state is actually maintaining the timeout by converting them into the minutes. Okay, so by default if I have not done anything, so the basic setting will be for the 20 minutes. So 20 minutes तक आपका ये valid रहेगा, user को log out नहीं करेगा, but after 20 minutes of timeout it will be throwing out of you the logged in session. So all these settings we can generally apply from the configuration file. So generally what happens, settings are inherited from the machine.config file. There is a one more root file which is called as machine.config file, which is available in the Windows system C, Windows System 32, in the .NET framework. So deep under that there is a one more root XML file with the name machine.config file is there. So all these basic settings, so whatever we are seeing here, so basically they are deriving from that original master file. Okay, so if I open that file, it will be like some nearly 1,000 lines of settings we can see, but all those are the default ones and we don't want to bother about all those settings. So by default they are applicable in this web context also, but whatever you want to override, suppose जो by default 20 minutes है मैं उसको override करना चाहता हूँ with 1 hour, so this setting I am going to implement. So आपके जो master file में 20 minutes रहेगा, but यहाँ पे उसका time out 60 minutes रहेगा. So in that way here we are doing the overriding of your basic settings. So overriding of from these machine.config settings, we are actually uh, applying our own settings in this web.config file. So this is the master file and this is the derived file. So derived file can be there in your root folder or any other internal folders also. So suppose you've got so many folders in your application. One is for admin, one is for users, one is for guests. So in every folder you can keep this one of the web.config file. Again what it will do, it will derive, the inner folder will derive from this file. In that way all these are actually chained together, so that whenever any overriding is happening, automatically the latest setting is actually applied on that particular context. Understand? Okay. So next, so what are the settings generally what we can manipulate with our ASP.NET application? We just come to know why to keep these settings in this way is actually they offer several advantages. Okay, so first thing is they are never locked. What is mean by this locking is suppose you kept the database information in the code file itself, not in the web.config file. Okay, आपने आपका database का जो connection का जो details है आपने code behind file में नहीं रखा, web.config file में नहीं रखा, code behind file में रखा. So what happens, every time you have to compile whenever you are changing that from production to the testing environment or from development mode to the testing mode. So all these are actually having different databases. So every time if you want to deploy your application, you have to compile again and again, because the dependency is the settings you have written in the code file. So whenever any changes are there in the code, it should be compiled. So after every compilation you need to deploy. So these are the dependencies. But if you are shifting those changes which are common to the application into this particular file, then there is no botheration of compiling the application again and again, because basically they are transparently sent from this configuration file to your application without further compilation. So that's why you can update the web.config settings at any point of time, even while your application is running. That means you are working in a production environment and your application is served to the user at runtime, and just your database got crashed, and immediately you can put that onto a secondary database which is available online, and your website is up in less than few seconds. Okay, so that fast we can have. Otherwise, what is the other alternative is, if you have written that information in the database, that in the code file, you have to take down your application, you have to stop that, and you have to recompile with your new settings. Then again, after compilation, you have to deploy. Then only your service is running to the users. So in that way, you will be getting a few hours of disruption of your website. So these should be like these should be limited. So as far as possible, we want to like run our application mostly 99.9%. Okay, so only some few seconds of lag can be tolerated in these days. Okay, so that's why it is better to have the settings in the ASP.NET configuration file. If there are any requests currently underway, even though you are working on that web.config file, they will continue to use the old settings because it is actually kept in the memory. Okay, so as soon as the file is written with the new changes, then the new request will get changed immediately. तो ये इतना ट्रांसपेरेंटली होता है कि यूजर्स को पता भी नहीं चलता है कि बीच में आपका जो डेटाबेस चेंज हो गया है या आपका कुछ सेटिंग्स आपने चेंज किया है. Maybe the session timeout has increased by you, or some any other authentication protocols have been changed by you. So all these are actually happening without the user notice, and that too transparently. And most importantly, you don't have to stop the web application, still serving the users with the latest information whatever you have on your website. Okay, so in that way they are very beneficial, and they are not actually logged. So that's why you can simply open that in any notepad, and you can provide the changes, and instantly on the next subsequent second they are able to be seen by the users. Not only that, they are easily accessed and replicated. Okay, suppose you are working on multiple websites, and sometimes you need to have the same kind of settings applicable on across different websites that you are working. So in those conditions, what you can do is, here what we are having this web.config file, you can simply copy this. Okay, जैसे मैंने यहाँ पे copy कर रहा हूँ. Simply you can copy this and write that information on that second website, so that instantly all those changes are getting reflected in that new website. So that is the next best advantage that we can have. And you can not only access this from the local host, you can access from the like remote computer also. So remote computer can be like connected with any other FTP clients, and they can be downloaded, or you can simply open that from the web interfaces also. So many mechanisms are there. Okay, so there are so many mechanisms to connect with that particular file, and you can do the changes. And then the settings are very easy to edit and understandable. Okay, once you know the XML, that means you can do the changes with the right permissions. Okay, so that means you can anytime edit and open up the information. These settings are simply human readable settings, which means they can be edited and as well as understood also. Okay, and special kind of software is not at all required. Anybody can easily understand. Anybody means only who are knowing the ASP.NET application development, so they can easily know what are the changes that need to be employed, and what are the effects. Consequently, what are the final effects that are going to be brought into the application. So all these settings are very easily we can implement. Then inheritance automatically supported. So as we have discussed, you may be having one admin folder, or you may be having a guest folder, or some users folder. All these folders are actually having one independent web.config file. What they are actually doing is, they can be given with some additional restrictions. Suppose there are guest users, maybe they are not offered with some of the privileges that your web application is having. So in those conditions, you can write those restrictions in the web.config file, not doing the changes in the code actually. Otherwise, if the web.config file is not there, then what is the other alternative? You have to provide the logic into the code. So whenever you are having the code in that way, the code will be somewhat unmanageable, because you want to you want to provide the ifs and buts every time, and according to the deployments, according to the user identification, according to the privileges that you need to offer. So it will be the logic will be bloated up to some higher degree. So that is not actually required. Okay. So what we can do is we can have this inheritance that is automatically coming into your subfolder based on the root folder's permissions. So things will be very easier if you are taking this web.config file. So this is very helping hand for the programmers, because automatically many of the things are being taken up by the web.config file without botheration by the programmer. So some of the elements that you can see are one of the element is like authentication. It is used to specify the mode of identifying the user. What is the mode? Then authorization. Once authenticated, what resources or privileges one user can have. So these authorization rules we can provide according to your requirements. Then compilation, what is the compilation mode and what is the language, what is the framework, whether it is a release mode or the deployment mode, what is the version, okay, whether debug is enabled or not. So all these are the part of the compilation. So these particular sections will be dealing according to the section name. Okay, so the element name. So the element name is custom errors. Suppose you are having some error in your page, then generally what happens, the default nature of the ASP.NET web application is anything wrong is processed on the web page, the entire error is simply rendered onto the web browser. So it's difficult to the end user who are not at all technology savvy. They can be not easily grasping the thing. So that's why you want to offer some custom errors mechanism. जैसे आपने कभी कभी देखा होगा, कोई भी वेबसाइट में अगर एरर आता है तो एक नीट एंड क्लीन एक एरर मैसेज दिखाते हैं कि समथिंग सम एरर इज अकर्ड, प्लीज ट्राई आफ्टर सम टाइम, और मे बी यू आर रीडायरेक्टेड टू सम लॉगिन पेज और सम एक एनिमेटेड इमेज आप शो कर सकते हैं. सो दीज आर द कस्टम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. Simply showing the JavaScript error or some coding error onto the interface is not a good way of doing the thing. So that's why custom errors will be handful in those circumstances. Okay? तो वो सेक्शन इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए आपको इसके अंदर आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन राइट करना पड़ेगा. देन सेशन स्टेट, as we have seen with the example, session state we can maintain in the SQL state, in process, state guidance. So there are different settings that we can do in the session state elements. Then trace, whether while you are debugging, while you are having the testing mode, you want to see so many things like the performance, the scalability, the the behavior of the application, the lag, and the timeout, everything you want to see. And in those circumstances you can enable this trace. Okay, so the trace is used for mostly for testing as well as for performance checking mechanism. So this is generally done from the system.diagnostics also. It is coming from that class, but it is optionally given in the web.config file also. Okay, so now we will see one by one. Authentication. Authentication is generally used for identifying a particular user. Suppose you are a user, you are connecting from a different country, and anybody can hit a website. Suppose I am hitting a website named as rediffmail.com. Okay, so this website is there. Okay, now this website is having getting connected by millions of users, or yahoo.com. It will be hit by millions of users, and most of the users may not be using the logged in features offered by the company, or some of the users may be using the some additional features as a privileged user. So then how to identify whether they are the privileged users or not? Okay, so whether they are registered users or they are the part of your customers, how you want to recognize them? For that we need to first of all authenticate. So how to go about the authentication? You can basically set with different settings. One is with the none mode, that means no authentication is required. That means anybody who is getting anonymously connected to your web application can be given with the privileges. So in that way the application is actually understanding. Second thing is the authentication you want to provide, but in the Windows context. The Windows context means you have a company, you have a very big company in which some 2000 employees are there. Okay, so you don't have to offer a different authentication where all these machines are actually connected. Okay, so suppose all these machines are connected to a Windows server. So in those Windows server, you can provide the authentication. So accordingly, those 2000 users are automatically authenticated because they are actually being identified by the Windows machine. They are actually being identified by the Windows machine. So when these particular situations occur, because you have a company website, company means the internal working website, who is going to be which is going to be used by the teammates of your company only. So no outsider is actually part of the like application user. So in those contexts, you can set this Windows. Now the responsibility of authenticating the user is on the Windows. जैसे आप अपने लैपटॉप में या डेस्कटॉप में कनेक्ट करेंगे तो आपको अगर आपने ऑथेंटिकेशन एनेबल किया होंगे तो आपको एक लॉगिन करना पड़ता है. सो दैट सेम लॉगिन इज गोइंग टू बी ऑफर्ड बाय द विंडोज सर्वर एंड जैसे ही आपने लॉगिन किया यू आर इनटू द वेबसाइट, यू आर इनटू द कंपनीज वेबसाइट. You don't have to re-authenticate yourself from any other mode. So that is basically the Windows authentication. Then one more is Forms authentication. Forms authentication means आप regularly websites पे जो देखते हैं, you have to fill up with the first name, last name, email address. Then you have to create with your own password. Suppose maybe on the Paytm, maybe on the Amazon. So all these are actually on the forms-based authentication. Okay. So the forms-based authentication is actually mostly the preferred mode of authentication by most of the websites, because you are working in a distributed environment where one needs to get authenticated using some certain functionality. So then in those conditions, forms authentication is the best way of implementing that feature. So here comes the advantage of that. Okay, so that means whenever you are creating a website for your requirement, most probably you are taking this if it is required to have some logins. Otherwise, you are keeping that as none. Okay, so we are less rarely going to have this Windows application because Windows server authentication is being preferred by the companies for the internal affairs management. Then one more authentication is there that is called as passport authentication. And passport authentication is created by the Microsoft. The passport is actually given by the Microsoft. This is a unique kind of feature. Nowadays, it is actually not that much popular. But if you go back to one decade back, it is most popular because passport. That means you are having credentials at the Microsoft.com, and those credentials you can reutilize across all the supported platforms. जैसे आपका माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का क्रेडेंशियल्स है, आप उसको गूगल पे भी चला सकते हैं, आप फेसबुक पे भी चला सकते हैं. Then you can work that on Amazon, many other hundreds and thousands of supported platforms पे आप इसको reutilize कर सकते हैं. That means you have a single unique identity which can be compatible with all the other services available on the internet. So that is what the passport is offering. Okay, so in that way, authentication is having 4 modes. One is none, which is the default one. If you are not saying anything, the ASP.NET cannot authenticate from your side. Then one more is Windows. It is for the internal affairs of the company. Forms-based mechanism is the most popular one. Then passport-based mode is also there, but it is only, we can say like it is deprecated. Okay, आज के डेट में ज़्यादा यूज नहीं करते इसको. So if you don't need any authentication, you have to put authentication mode none. So इसको कैसे रेट करना है, मैं एग्जांपल के साथ मैं suppose not in this, after this you can see authentication element is coming here. Okay, so there are so many sections or elements we can see in this configuration setting. So in which authentication is one. मैं क्या करूँगा, authentication element को open करूँगा, element को open करके you can set with mode is equal to whether it can be forms or it can be passport or Windows, and one more is integrated, that is federated. आपके last unit में federated identity SAML का पार्ट एक आएगा, उस टाइम आपको ये क्लैरिटी से समझ में आएगा. So now there are different modes of authentication, and which is replaced. You can see we can have these federated not available in the 2.0. अगर आप 2.0 यूज कर रहे हो तो federated नहीं आएगा. So based on the version also these values are getting changed. So suppose I want to have the forms based authentication. Now you have to say the windows like please authenticate. So now what it will do, automatically you will be redirected to a login page. आपको बताना पड़ता है login page क्या है. Okay, so the forms and default URL क्या है, ये सब आपको क्रिएट करना पड़ता है. So क्रिएट करने के बाद अकॉर्डिंगली आपका एप्लीकेशन बिहेव करेगा. Okay, now we will go to the next section, that is authorization. Yes, it is also very handful way of implementing the things very easily. And you can see the authorization, ये authorization भी same वहीं पे कर सकते हैं. देखो नीचे मैं यहाँ पे टाइप करता हूँ, after this authentication I can keep my authorization also open. Okay, so this is authorization section in which you can have your values like created, like किसको allow करना है, किसको deny करना है. Okay, so deny all the users. So these settings you can generally implement in this authorization. So allow करना है मतलब you can see allow users. You can provide the name of the users. Some Ram, Ramesh, Savita, maybe Bhargavi. In that way you can provide the name of the users. Okay, and if the names are too many, suppose आपके वेबसाइट में 2000 यूजर्स है तो आप 2000 यूजर्स को ऐसा कॉमा करके प्रोवाइड नहीं करेंगे. Then what you can do is you can put them in some roles. Okay, you can see the roles here. Roles means you can create some of the roles like guest roles or some user roles. Some paid users है तो उसका जो level of user subscription, like the gold users, platinum users, silver users, some guest users. So in that way you can create some of the roles for your application, and accordingly you can put the users into those roles. So then what happens is you need to simply provide with the roles only. Automatically whoever is the part of that particular role, अगर एक रोल के अंदर 5000 लोग भी आ रहे हैं, एक रोल के अंदर 10,000 लोग भी आ रहे हैं. Okay, so we do not require to put this allow users to those 10,000 users list. We can simply call by their name of the roles. Okay, and sometimes we can put with the verbs also, and comma separated list of verbs. So some actions we can specify like get operation है तो post operation है तो किसको allow करना है, किसको allow नहीं करना है. So all these things also we can do. And similarly जैसे allow कर रहे हैं हम deny भी कर सकते हैं. Deny users, some comma separated, suppose कोई user को आपको blacklist करना है. So simply what you can do is open this web.config file. Authorization में deny users में उसका नाम लिख दो. Even though if he is having the valid login, he will be simply rejected with the authorization. He will not be sent into the dashboard, or he will not be given with any privileges, and he will be simply logged out of the website, because as part of the authorization you have simply denied that user. Same with the case of the roles and verbs. अगर आपको completely एक role को deny करना है एक पेज रिसोर्स के साथ, वो पेज के रिसोर्स के अंदर में आप क्या कर सकते हैं, the role for guest is not allocated, that means it is denied. So जितने भी वो रोल के अंदर आ रहा है free users, so free users roles के अंदर कितने भी आ रहा है, so that resource is not going to be given to them. So in that way we can allow or we can deny them also. So the verbs, we can see this is actually list of get, post, head, and some of the verbs we can attach. So what are the users, they can post information. What are the roles, they can get the information. What are the roles, they can see the header information. So these kinds of manipulations, all these can be employed by using this authorization. So it's a very handy way of getting the things done without going into the coding. So हम अभी इसमें कोडिंग के लिए नहीं जा रहे हैं. ऑटोमेटिकली ऑल दीज आर गेटिंग हैंडल्ड. आपको एक्चुअली कोडिंग लिख के इसको कंप्लीट नहीं करना है. ऑटोमेटिकली ऑल दीज बीइंग आर सर्व्ड फ्रॉम द वेब सर्वर. Next, how to implement this, you can see here. Authorization फॉर्म्स ऑथेंटिकेशन है तो आप ये जैसे लॉगिन यूआरएल देंगे, ओके, देन you can see login URL. This is the login page. So whoever is not authenticated, simply they will be redirected to login.aspx, and timeout is you can see 60 seconds. So 60 seconds के अंदर आपको ये like authenticate करके करना पड़ेगा. Then authorization, deny all the anonymous users. Question mark means all the anonymous users. So there is a resource which you do not want to expose to all the anonymous users. Only logged in users, only the logged in users or recognized users are having those features. So what you will do in that inner folder of that free users, okay, so you will be putting the setting deny users question mark. So until unless they are not authenticating themselves, they cannot acquire that resource. So in that way, automatically it will be applicable to all the anonymous users. Okay, so these ways we can implement some restrictions on the serving of your resources for the end users. Then compilation, it is easily understandable. Compilation default language kya hai, C# or VB, you can set from this compilation section. Then custom errors, as I've said, suppose there is any error occurring on the web page, and you should be having this custom errors mode opened up so that any runtime error or any like any part of error that is coming from your application is gracefully taken to a particular user interface which is looking beautiful, something like please come after some time, okay. Otherwise you want to notify the users access is denied, only you have to politely say that, you have to politely convey to the user, please authenticate yourself before accessing this information. So in that way, any kind of error, so the error code you have to specify. These are the HTTP error codes. 403 is for the access denied. 404 is for the page not found. Suppose user is accessing some page abc.com which is not available, which abc.aspx which is not available. So gracefully you want to take them to a page where there can be a login or there can be some home page. It can be redirected gracefully in that way. So along with the proper mapping of the status codes, you can have the corresponding page created. They can be simple HTMLs also, you can see they can be normal HTMLs also. So in that way you can have these customization parts of your errors occurring on your web page. Even you can see this on Amazon.com and other popular websites also. Suppose you are searching for a product which was there a few months back, but nowadays it is not available. When you search on that, when you directly click on that direct landing page of that, because you have bookmarked that, okay, आपने bookmark करके रखा है, but वो product अभी available नहीं है. If you are clicking on that, and now that particular page is not available, what it will do, the Amazon.com simply says, please, this product is not available currently, and it will show up with some suggested products along with that searched product. So in that way, some neat and clean, some interaction user interface has to be provided to the user. So that's where we can provide our customers. Then globalization. So the globalization is for including all kinds of text that is available on there. If you are taking the UTF-8, you can only be putting the code in the ASCII characters that we have seen in the XML also. And whenever you want to uh, like encode with some different languages or cultures, suppose you want to write some information in the Marathi, okay. So UTF-8 is not supporting that. For that you have to take Unicode, okay. So the Unicode characters have to be capable to display the language and culture settings. So the culture specific strings, culture specific numbers, dates, the dates, all these are actually dependent on the cultures. Suppose in India we will treat the date as DD, MM, YYY. When you go to the US, it will be like YYY, maybe MM, then DD, then YYY. According to the culture, the dates also gets changed. So all these culture-based settings also you can incorporate by putting this globalization element, and the request encoding pattern you have to say here whether it is 16 or 8 or any other uh, appropriate encoding feature that you want to have. Then HTTP runtime. HTTP runtime is for the general runtime setting that you want to apply for your application. So general application request timeout you can specify. These are for milliseconds actually. So execution timeout is, that means 300 milliseconds. So up till 300 milliseconds, if it is not receiving any response from the server, that means the timeout actually taken place, and then your user is going to be notified like timeout error. Okay, so that timeout you can actually specify from the web.config settings. So execution timeout you can keep according to your burden on the server. Suppose you are working on the like shared hosting servers, there the response may not be that much fast, like in the case of the dedicated servers. So in those conditions, you can tweak your web application so that it can like wait for some time, some additional time. It can wait for some additional time before the response can be generated by the web server. So how to instruct that to the web server is by using this particular setting, HTTP runtime. Okay. So in that way, we can tweak our entire settings of how you can change the server processing behavior or some error debugging features and all these things. One more element is trace, to see the all the information that is debugged. Okay, so like in the case of the debugged information, we can trace every part of element that is available on that response stream that we can see in the practical slot. Similarly, identity is there. Identity we can provide, like impersonation we can use. Impersonation means we can simulate as we are the authenticated users. So that is called as impersonation. So by default, all these are supported. Identity impersonation enable करना है कि disable करना है, that we can put from this identity by impersonate false or true. You can provide the domain name, username with some password which is identifiable from your Windows server. So these identity features sometimes we may be requiring, but not all the times. Then session state, इसका मैंने example करके भी दिखाया था. Okay, web.config में. So off is nothing, in process, that is in the server's memory, state server, exclusively dedicated web server is there, or in the database. So in that way we can have our complete state information written according to your settings. This करना है. Okay, so app settings are for the context of your web application, of your business functionalities only. So they are not dealing with the web server, they are only for your business logic. Okay, business logic के point of view इसको कैसे use करेंगे वो हम देखेंगे. Then pages, connection strings. So not only these, we have so many sections that are available. That we have completed the web.config file.